Hey there, Mom eating up all the bandwidth while you're in online class? Did your brother find your candy stash? There's plenty of things that can start a fight at home. While we're still quarantined for who knows how long, conflicts and fights can spring up a lot more often at home than we'd like to admit. What can we do to resolve those? I'd like to show you some conflict resolution strategies that you can use to avoid awkward situations after a fight. Let's see. Our first instinct during a fight is to push our point and try and prove ourselves right. Let's try and step away from that first. What can we do instead? Some methods we can try to get to a peaceful resolution are trying to cool off if you're too heated, to discuss this issue calmly. You won't get anywhere with more fighting and yelling and such. And remember, it's not the other person's obligation or duty to agree with you. People have rights to their own opinions. Remember to respect the other person by listening to their point of view and try and find some common ground. Emotions can run high during a conflict. Be mindful of that and try and avoid escalating the conflict again when you've started discussing with these methods. Don't interrupt another person when they're speaking, even if you want to. You can bring up these kinds of points when it's your turn to speak. Practice active listening. Ask questions if you're confused about something they bring up. But once again, make sure you're not interrupting them when you're asking those questions. You gotta tell your side of the story clearly and honestly. Try not to embellish it or anything. Just don't bring up unrelated topics or issues. It's just about the one thing you're discussing here. And then when you're able to talk and discuss properly, try working as a team to figure out a solution to this. Remember that when discussing solutions, you gotta first and foremost, you come up with as many as possible. Because then you start narrowing it down from there. You gotta be willing to compromise, and when you finalize this solution, you gotta make sure everybody understands it clearly. Make sure everyone involved remembers the conclusion you came to. Stick to that solution. Don't go changing it up on a whim or whenever you want. Write a contract if you need to. Heck, bring in someone to come in as witness. If you feel like it's a necessary thing, contracts and witnesses can be very useful. Tensions are pretty darn high during this pandemic as we face struggles that no one's seen in over a century since the Spanish flu. When you're stuck at home, it can be pretty easy to start fighting for all sorts of reasons, no matter how small or big. And just like conflicts just like arguments, conflict resolution comes in all shapes and sizes. And what methods you use all depends on you and the other parties involved and what makes you comfortable. It takes practice, and it can be pretty difficult to keep your emotions in check when trying to come up with a conclusion. As my 8th grade social studies teacher once said to my class, the perfect compromise leaves everyone a little bit unhappy. For every conflict, I found those to be true.